on the Anime Vanguard Extermination Part 2 trailer, which is kinda insane. Very glad to see that they are adding a Zenless character in the game. Congratulations to Shunguang for being the first Zenless character in the game. But yeah, without further ado, today we have Section 6. First character is Tsukishiro Yanagi, a Spark DPS unit. First passive, Tsukuyomi Kagura. This unit has 2 stuns, Jogen and Kogen. Jogen will buff her damage by 10%, while Kogen, she will ignore 10% of enemy defense. But whenever she switches stances, she will retain the previous buff from the previous stances. Lunar Eclipse, on attack, she will inflict shock. Shock enemy will be stunned for 1.5 seconds and then will take continuous DOT for 8 seconds based on 30% of her damage. Additionally, whenever she attacks an enemy already suffering with a DOT effect, she will trigger disorder for 70% of her damage. And any kind of disorder from her or her ally, the disorder damage will be increased by 100%. And then Gesso, after switching stances, she will buff her own damage by 45%. And then we have Asaba Harumasa, Spark DPS mythic unit as well. When I first made him, I'm not really sure how to properly do his passive. But then after some thinking, this is the best that I could. So yeah. Falling Feather, anytime this unit attack, he will summon an electric quiver up to 6. And then after all 6 are present, the quiver will strike the enemy, with each quiver dealing 25% of Harumasa damage, and then will mark the enemy 3 times. After the enemy is marked, this unit will do a follow-up to the marked enemy, so 3 follow-up in total. And when he do the follow-up, he will gain 25% crit rate and then 12 crit damage. And then Overclock, whenever this unit attack a stun enemy on stun lockout, or an enemy affected with a DOT effect, he will increase his damage by 40%. He will increase the damage he does by 40%. And then we have Sokaku, a support water mythic unit. Blade Banner, on placement, she will immediately buff self and ally by 500 attack flat bonus. She also has a stock, 3 stock. Whenever she gains 3 stocks, she will consume the stock and then buff by additional 500 attack flat. So a total of 1000 attack flat bonus. She will gain those stocks by a follow-up or ability that's triggered in her range, and the buff lasts for 22 seconds. Group set meal, whenever she consumes stocks, buff all water ally in range by 20% damage for 22 seconds. Water support, which is fine I guess, considering how most water don't really have the spotlight in AV as of now. And then lastly, we have Hoshimi Miyabi, the Void Hunter. We have Searing Cold, on attack, she will inflict Ice Fire. The Ice Fire will last for 30 seconds, and when she attacks the same enemy that's inflicted with Ice Fire, she will trigger Frostburn Break for 250 of her damage, as well as freezing them for 2 seconds. And then after 2 seconds, the freeze will shatter, which will deal 50% of her damage. When Frostburn Break is applied to the enemy, maybe after the shatter happen, the enemy will enter what's called Frostburn state, which they will receive 20% more DOT damage from any kind of source. So any kind of DOT will deal 20% more damage. Also, she cannot apply Ice Fire again to an enemy in the Frostburn state. We have Shimotsuki, also has a gauge. When gauge are full, which is 6, she will do a large AoE attack dealing an additional 60% damage. She will gain a gauge by freeze related status debuff, Frostburn Break, Freeze, Shatter on her own. and then any kind of disorder that happen in her range. Additionally, when she attack an enemy inflicted with other DOT that isn't freeze, she will trigger disorder based on 50% of her damage. And then lastly, we have Lingering Snow. She will gain an ability dealing 300% of her damage, gain 3 gauge, and then buffing her own damage by 30% for 12 seconds. So yeah, that's it. Very simple, very straightforward. Nothing too crazy for section 6. So yeah, I hope they will add more Zenless character in Anime Vanguard. I plan on, after I'm satisfied with Zenless, I think I'm gonna do a unit recommendation for Genshin character next. So yeah, I think I'm excited to do for that in the future. But for now, this is it. Thank you for watching.